we invite you to take a journey back in time to an era not so long ago, where that which we take for granted today either did not exist or was in the infant stages of development. A time when South African icons were born and world history was made. One such icon is Dr. Marius Barnard, a graduate of the University of Cape Town, surgeon, critical insurance pioneer, parliamentarian, and now author of Defining Moments.
I always said that I won't do it while Chris, my brother, was alive, because there's things that will cause controversy, and some things in the biography might hurt him. It's very easy to write a book when everything you write is true and it's what you've experienced. Then my son Adam came along with an old school friend of his about 2 years ago, who was interested in doing the book, and between the two of them we did the... I had actually given up completely until Adam brought Simon Norval, who was unbelievable, and really, to his credit, that the book is written. I like to say he's a co-author, they say. I like to think of it, I wrote the story and he wrote the book. And I'm just a storyteller, and I'm very, very happy with the book. But I always felt that my mother and father wasn't honoured enough and given the full credit of what they've performed. And this book is totally dedicated to their memory. I think if you read the book, you will understand where it's coming from grandparents who were basically illiterate in the Knysna forest, who were woodcutters, to a father that went to school for the first time at the age of 22, to the heart transplant. It's actually a miracle story. Defining moments. Things happened in my life without my kind of trying to make it happen, but things just happened that led me through an unbelievable life. But I credit my parents for that, and I hope the book gives them the honor I think they deserve. The heart transplant basically is Chris Barnard. He's the one who motivated, and with us not so being reluctant, he organized it. It's all written in my book. If it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have done it. Chris kind of started with a team and eventually took everything for himself, that he did the heart transplant. But he had a fantastic team. And that's his credit, that he organized on his own, with quite a few of us not being so keen on it. So when we did it, everything was planned and it was done absolutely perfectly. South Africa was the leper of the world, and anything that they could bring apartheid in, they brought in. And there's cartoons of us taking with long claws, removing the heart of a black person with blood dripping from our hands. And I soon realized that these big operations that we did on patients not only cost a lot, but the survival afterwards was even more expensive. I had an idea, somehow, defining moment in my head, something came and said, but why don't we have a policy that pays out on the diagnosis of the heart attack, stroke, cancer, and all these other major conditions? And today it's one of the biggest protection policies in the world. They sell about 25 million. I was known as the father of cardiac surgery in Romania. And I think the contribution I made there is perhaps the biggest contribution I certainly made in medicine. In the early days of transplant, I was invited with Ines to go to Madrid. And there was a big, long Mercedes-Benz stand. As we drove out, he said to me, would you like to meet my father-in-law? So I said, of course. So I got out of the car and met the great Franco. Now, the story I really like to tell is this Mercedes-Benz, this hunting car. I said to him, listen, where did your father-in-law get this car? And he said, Marius, I want to tell you, it was a gift from Hitler. So I drove in a car that Hitler gave to Franco as a present. We went together to Spain. It was unbelievable. If you go with a man in that position, the treatment you get is just magic. Medicine must come back again from being a personal doctor-patient relationship. And as we were sitting there, they were screaming, and the door burst open with a young woman with a baby throwing it, and when they tried to stop her, they threw it in my arms. And I grabbed, they wanted to drag it away. I said, no, leave it, I want to see it. And it was a child that we could operate on, which I eventually did. I even got a photo of a child in his coffin, with a mother writing to me and say, you're the cause of his death. And you know, we operated years ago when things were still pretty primitive in cardiac surgery, so we had a lot of very bad complications. I remember all the patients that died. I don't remember the successes. I still want to write a book on my prostate cancer. Cancer might have taken away some of my earthly life, but it's given me eternal life, and I think that's a bargain. I got become a total believer, and my faith was strengthened and all that. So actually it's a terrible thing to say. I thank God for cancer. Having a wife like Ines and 3 children and grandchildren, life has still got its advantage.
Dr. Marius Barnard influenced world history by changing the course of medical practice. A great man who has stayed humble and true to himself and his beloved family.